Hope you're doing well today. I hope you're nothing but good health, prosperity, a strong mindset, and a healthy vision for the future. Let's talk about credit cards. Okay, let's build off of what we talked about last time. So if you haven't seen that video, watch it over here. You know, a number that ranges from like 0 to like 800 or 900, depending on where you are or how you look. That number that basically determines how much interest rates you're going to have to pay on certain goods and services. Or not certain goods and services, more like on certain assets or liabilities, depending on how you look at it. And the best way to do that is to track your expenses. There's too many people in this world who don't know where their money is at any given moment of the day, right? I'm not saying you need to be a neat freak or super anal about it, but I am saying that you do need to have a better understanding of what your income looks like and what your expenses look like. Because this all counts into how much money you're spending, right? How much money you're spending is important because of something called, I'm gonna put it on the screen, utilization. So utilization is basically, the easiest way to break it down is just this. It's a percentage of how much you're allowed to spend on your credit card. So let's say you have a limit of like $1,000. If you spend 100, then you're using 10% of your utilization. Does that make sense? Or your utilization is 10%, whatever. Potato. Basically, the reason why you want to track your expenses is so that you can understand how much money you're actually spending. When you spend on your credit, this is money that the bank is covering for you, or whoever, you know, it's usually the bank, right? This is money that the bank is covering for you because you're not paying it out of your own, let's say, checking account, right? Because it's kind of like borrowing someone else's money. And if you keep borrowing it and you're not paying it back, now that person's going to get suspicious of your ability to pay it back. The higher your utilization, the more like nervous the banks get about giving you more money. And that's where that limit comes from. Ideally, you want to be low, right? Less than 30%. That's like a safer spot. But you don't want to be at 0 where you don't build up any credit history because now you have a credit card for no reason. But I'm not a financial advisor. You are in complete control of your financial decisions. I'm just some guy on the internet. But to make your life easier, try to stick between 10% utilization. That way, it's a lot easier for you to manage when you pay it down, but it's also representing the fact that you use your card. Now, that 10% has to be something that you can pay back consistently, which brings me into my next topic, paying back on time, okay? Look into when your bank statements come out. Some banks do bi-weekly. I think some might do monthly, but for the most part, at the end of the month, you want to pay down any debt you have, like in full, ideally. And when you pay it down, pay attention to a specific number. It's called minimum payments. Minimum payments are basically what the bank tells you you should pay to stay in good standing with your credit card company, right? Now, here's the thing about minimum payments. They're a trap. Minimum payments are a trap because they're a very small percentage of how much you need to owe before interest. So if you only focus on the minimum payments, you're going to be spending a lot of time spending or paying back what you basically borrowed from the lender, which I'm just going to say the bank in this context. You've only given back the minimum payment and the bank goes, okay, you know what? You're good. But next month, I'm charging you interest. So this is what you should do. Focus on the minimum payment. And if you can, add the interest rate on top at the bare minimum. If you can't, add more. If you can add more than the minimum payment and the interest, even if it's not the whole thing, you're in a better standing than if it's only the minimum interest. And especially if it's the minimum interest or the minimum payment, with interest on top. Make more than the minimum payment, right? Whenever you can. And ideally, pay everything off in full if you have the opportunity to. Credit cards are not free money. They give you flexibility, right? Let's say you have a huge expense, medical expense, travel expense, health emergency, right? If you don't got it cash, the credit card will give you opportunity to take care of certain situations and defer the obligation of payment. It's a tool, right? But it's not a get out of jail free card. You still got to be responsible with how you use your money and how you manage your finances in that aspect. Another thing, now this is a little bit backwards, but credit history. If you keep your account open for a long time, right? Whether it's a revolving account or like a loan or something like that, basically having accounts where you're borrowing money, for example, I guess that's the best definition I can give. The longer you have it, the more you show the bank that, okay, you have history using credit. So now they have a better understanding of, okay, you're the type of person who can borrow money and be smart with your finances. But just realize that you're going to be spending money that you were already planning to spend. That's the logic here. Not money that you are going to pay for extra, things that you can't afford, or to pay for things to show off and look cool, but for actual necessities that you have in your day-to-day life, right? Over the course of time, if you're patient and you're consistent and you check your credit often and you're on top of your expenses and what money's going in and out, your credit score will improve. People only like interest when it works in their favor. So how about we make it work in our favor and get smart with our credit? So that's the video. Watch this video, subscribe, and I'll catch you next time.